fact, WNBA players are not underpaid at all. They are, if anything, vast.
Is Matt Walsh right? Are WNBA players overpaid, or is he just seeking attention? His claims from Caitlin Clark being the only player worth big money to the league's financial losses are causing a stir in the sports world.
WNBA and its players are closing in on an opt-out date for their current collective bargaining agreement. The CBA is essentially an agreement that sorts out what percentage of money goes to the players and at the end of the day decides what their salaries will be. And if the players union does opt out, the current CBA, which was set to expire in 2027, will still be in effect next season. So the two sides have a year to come to an agreement.
The WNBA players have opted out of their collective bargaining agreement, pushing for higher pay or threatening a work stoppage. This move comes at a tough time for the league, which is facing financial struggles. The current agreement lasts until 2027 unless a deal is reached within a year. The big question, can the league afford?
If the players and the league can't come to an agreement, then a lockout will happen.
These athletes aren't just asking for a slight pay increase, they're demanding a complete overhaul, higher salaries, better benefits, and improved facilities. If a new deal isn't reached by the end of the 2025 season, a strike could bring the league to a halt.
Checks. It's about claiming our rightful share of the business we built, improving working conditions, and sharing a future where the success we create benefits today's players and generations to come. We're not just asking for a CBA that reflects our value. We're demanding.
Let's get into the numbers. The top WNBA salary is around $250,000, which is minuscule compared to the millions NBA rookies earn right after being drafted. Star players like Brianna Stewart are pushing for million-dollar contracts, which would mark a huge shift from the current pay scale.
Chimed in and said that she would love to see teams have the ability.
The WNBA's new $200 million media rights deal with Disney, Amazon Prime, and NBC is a game changer, but players want their share now, not later. Kelsey Plum, a key player, put it best.
Asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue, like, for example, they sell my jersey in Mandalay Bay, I don't get a dime.
You don't get any money from jersey sales?
The push for higher pay has sparked debate. Some fans back the players, saying the demands are overdue, while others argue the league can't afford it. Matt Walsh stirred things up, claiming players are overpaid given the WNBA's financial losses. Despite the new media deal, the league is still far from profitable. The stakes are high, and the debate is only getting hotter. Stay tuned as we break it down.
In mind, salaries were going to go up after the new media rights deal started, and they got a little while before that starts. It's not going to be next year, but they couldn't wait for that. That media rights deal is sizable, all right? The league is set to possibly pull a profit for the first time ever because of that.
You won't believe this, but the WNBA just reported a jaw-dropping $40 million loss for this season. Let that sink in. $40 million lost in just 1 year. And here's the kicker. It's not a new issue. The league has been losing money for nearly 30 years. In fact, the WNBA has never turned a profit since it started in 1997.
Clark, even with Angel Reese, the league lost $40 million this year. $40 million. All right, keep that in mind. So this league is not...
I know what you're thinking. What about all the Caitlin Clark hype? There were record-breaking crowds and TD ratings this season, right? And you're spot on. From packed arenas to viral moments, it feels like the WNBA is living in two separate worlds. On one hand, there's the excitement and a growing fan base. But on the other, it's a financial struggle that has NBA owners scratching their heads and their wallets, even with Caitlin Clark's star power.
Owners to actually be sort of a hero on this, it is James Dolan, one of them, of course, from the Knicks, that is asking a lot of questions right now, and evidently a lot of other owners are sort of happy that he's...
Speaking of NBA owners, they're no longer staying silent. For years, they've been footing the bill, pouring millions into a league that burns through cash faster than it makes revenue. And now, their patience is running out. Can you blame them? They've been the financial backbone of the WNBA, but despite their investment, the league is still struggling to stay afloat.
The NBA provides the WNBA with an annual endowment of over $15 million. This financial support helps to cover various operating costs for WNBA teams, including facilities, travel, marketing, and administration. As of 2023, the NBA owns 50% of the WNBA, while the 12 WNBA teams collectively own the other.
James Dolan, owner of the New York Knicks, is leading the charge. He's pushing NBA Commissioner Adam Silver for answers about the WNBA's finances, and when one NBA owner speaks up, others typically follow. This isn't just frustration, it's a demand for transparency.
Women are getting paid salaries to play for a league that, economically speaking, shouldn't exist. You don't have to be a financial whiz to understand that losing money for 30 years is usually a recipe for bankruptcy. The only reason the women's league stays open is that the NBA...
So what's really happening behind the scenes? It turns out the NBA has been covering up the WNBA's huge losses for years, quietly absorbing them into their own balance sheets. This has made it difficult to get an accurate picture of just how bad the situation is.
For nearly 30 years, it has never once turned a profit. According to WSN.com, a sports betting site, the WNBA generates about $60 million in revenue. For the record, an article in Vox claims that the revenue is in the $100-200 million range, which I find dubious. But either way, the NBA, by contrast, brings in $10 billion of revenue with something like $3 billion in profits. So that means that the NBA generates more than 150 times the revenue.
This situation has certainly sparked a lot of attention. NBA owners are growing frustrated with constantly writing large checks and are now demanding full transparency. They want a clear understanding of how their funds are being used, and it's hard to fault them for that. It feels as though they've been pouring money into a bottomless pit with little accountability, and now they expect a detailed report.
The only reason the women's league stays open is that the NBA subsidizes it. Every year, the men's league hands millions of dollars to the women. And why do they do that? Well, so that everyone can feel good about the fact that a women's league exists.
The WNBA relies heavily on NBA funding to survive. Without it, the league wouldn't make it. This raises the question, how long can this last? Meanwhile, players are asking for higher pay and better benefits, despite the league's financial struggles. It's a risky move. Are they hoping for a turnaround, or are they unaware of the financial reality? This could be a key moment for the WNBA. The stakes are higher than ever.
Although the WNBA generates $60 million in revenue, or even if it's $100 million, let's say, it makes no profit. These women are getting paid salaries to play for a league that, economically speaking, shouldn't exist. You don't have to be a financial whiz to understand that losing money for 30 years is usually a recipe for bankruptcy.
The WNBA relies on NBA funding to survive. Without it, the league wouldn't last. Players are now asking for higher pay and better benefits, despite financial struggles. It's a risky move. Will it pay off, or are they overlooking the financial reality? The stakes are high.
But again, what happens if you push all these new fans back out? What does that do for your media rights deals? Because they only got the new media rights deals because of one player. I mean, singular, let's be honest. It's Caitlin Clark. She boosted all the ratings. She got the popularity.